Hello and welcome back to another MotoGP 26 video, and today we are here checking out the newly added production bikes. This is something I saw in the trailer and thought looked like it could be a bit of fun. I did deep down hope that it would be kind of the same physics as Ride 6. I don't think it's going to be going in, but you never know. It could be a bit more similar than the GP bikes. And of course, with it being a new addition to the race-off stuff, I really did want to jump into it and check it out. Obviously, I didn't play that much of this on 25, the race-off stuff. I didn't really enjoy it very much. Didn't think the physics were particularly great, and I didn't actually play the standard career mode, you'd say, so it didn't get kind of forced upon me. This I could see myself playing a bit more of if it's enjoyable, because it's probably the closest we're going to get to any kind of World Superbike game anytime soon. So in terms of the bike to go on, obviously I've played as Fabio quite a bit already on this game, so don't really maybe want to play as him. And we could maybe go with this KTM, because I have done quite a bit of that on Ride 6, so that would be a good little back-to-back comparison. So yeah, I think I will go with the KTM, and then in terms of tracks, they're obviously they're kind of restricted per bike, so like the KTM can go to Chang, Red Bull Ring, Brno, and there's a different selection of 3 tracks for the other manufacturers, although I feel like Honda and Yamaha can both go to Mandalika, so yeah, not the most well thought out thing in the world, I guess. And if we really are going for that Ride 6 comparison, may as well try the Red Bull Ring, so we'll go for that one. So in terms of AI difficulty, I'm not 100% sure what to go with. I did 95 in a couple of videos yesterday, and they did seem pretty slow, so I'll whack them up to 100 and see how we get on. Maybe we'll still be too fast, maybe we'll be too slow now, but anyway, let's get down to the track and see how these production bikes handle. So obviously we haven't got any commentary from Gavin Emmett here, because of course it is kind of just a day of KTM, although I'm sure the manufacturer wouldn't be too thrilled that they're actually racing each other, because they could be picking up injuries or things like that. So we're at the back of the grid then here, 10th position, waiting for the lights to go out here. See if we can try and get a good start and pass some of these guys. On them for a while, lights out, away we go. And a pretty good launch. As you can see, of course, it's all basically just the same set of leathers everywhere, all the Red Bull KTM IO leathers together. You don't really see this many on the grid together, obviously, because they're across the different classes. Obviously, you've got the 2 Moto3 teams, the Moto2 team, and the 2 GP teams. So that's the one thing about KTM, they haven't had to draft any random people in. I think in the other manufacturers they have drafted in just like random Moto2 and Moto3 riders to kind of be on their bikes, but with KTM they have enough riders to just fill all 10 slots. It's kind of a shame really, in my opinion, that, okay, in career mode I get it, that you could only really have the manufacturers together, and I guess the manufacturers don't want their production bikes racing against each other because it might make one bike look bad or whatever, so maybe that's potentially why they're not together. But in terms of the track selection, you feel like you'd just be able to pick any track in the free mode, even if it was restricted in career mode. Like, it would make sense KTM at Austria or, you know, things like that, but yeah, it does seem like a bit of a missed opportunity to kind of do them at any track. But so far, they don't feel too bad actually. The brakes are still obviously pretty poor, but that's kind of a general thing on this game. It's clearly a decision that's been made, so it's going to apply to all the bikes. Although I did find Moto3 and Moto2 are actually a lot better with that. It seems like GP and the production bikes are probably the worst. And I am feeling like I've made a mistake here with the 100 AI, because they are gapping me already. This Carpe comes through, so we're just in front of Uriarte now, but I cannot stop. I mean, look how wide I've gone there. I mean, maybe I did brake a bit deep, but I feel like obviously the thing with this braking system is, because the brakes are so weak, if you do make a mistake, you can't really recover from it too well. Whereas obviously when you've got a good set of brakes underneath you, even if you go a little bit hot, you can kind of adjust your trajectory, kind of aim for the apex, or maybe even aim to run a bit wide, but you can just grab that bit more brake and just get a bit more stopping power. But obviously because we don't have much natural stopping power, grabbing a bit more brake doesn't really do much. You don't stop much quicker, so it is hard to kind of correct a small error that you've made into the braking zone, which you are going to do pretty regularly. And I've just rammed San Mayer out the way twice now. Well, he's got a pretty good run. Come up past us. Back at the inside of him we go again. I'm going in so hot here. I'm going to take Peroni out. Oh, yeah, I have taken Peroni out. How? Let's have a look at that. Where did I brake? Yeah, I mean, it's like 175. I mean, this is a tricky corner, but I wasn't even close to making it. I mean, I could tell from so early on that I wasn't going to. And maybe the correct decision was to go to the left of him, but obviously I just did the normal dive for the apex because that's the best thing you can kind of do. And yeah, I've just completely wiped him out. So yeah, not brilliant. Not my finest hour, shall we say. So I've decided to give it a go on a slightly lower difficulty after that particular moment there where I just destroyed Peroni. Hopefully it won't do that this time. Hopefully I can kind of just try and get the brakes under a bit more control, but obviously it will be a little bit hard to kind of do that because, again, I've got the Austria kind of braking points marked down, and obviously even with the Ride 6 ones. I guess that's why I picked this. So compared to Ride 6, obviously it's like nothing like Ride 6, which, I mean, is okay. Like, it shouldn't, you know, it being not exactly the same is not necessarily a bad thing, but just I really, really like the physics on that game. It's, for me, probably the best game milestone I've ever made, which, yeah, is saying something, because I'm not usually someone that massively loves to ride games, but physics on that game are pretty good. And the AI are not bad either. I mean, they do some stupid stuff, particularly on road courses, but on the whole, on the actual regular circuits, they're pretty good. They're better than the AI in the MotoGP games, that's for sure. But immediately that drop of 5% does seem to be paying dividends as we've made our way up into 5th place. Again, just grabbing the... I mean, you can see on the telemetry I'm grabbing like 100% brake sometimes, which just feels really kind of alien to do. I obviously leave a little bit of margin on the brakes because you don't unlock the front, but on this game it does seem like that's the way to go because you can get away with it. I feel like that's the approach they've taken with the brakes. Is I think partially it's to slow the bikes down, as we've got Peroni trying to get his revenge there, but we just sweep around the outside of him. But I think it's partially to slow the lap times down, although I'm not sure how well they've done that. We'll have to compare the top sort of leaderboard times in a couple of months' time and see how they relate, if there's much of a difference between them, because we know the top guys will find any kind of exploit to actually get the lap times down. But also I feel like maybe it's just to make the game a bit easier, because I have seen people say they really like the braking on this game, and I feel like those are the kind of people that have been struggling on the previous entries, and that's good. It's good that there are people enjoying it. It's just definitely taking a bit of time to get used to. But actually, to be honest, these production bikes are not too bad. I'm actually, I'm finding them all right so far. I still feel like you are kind of out of control. Like that's my kind of thing with the brakes, is because they are so weak, you don't have the extra travel that you need, or you don't have the extra, you always have a little bit of margin when you're following somebody. You might position yourself slightly to the right, or you might just brake a little bit earlier and then kind of close up to them by releasing the brake a little bit. Whereas on this game, I don't feel like, once I get in the braking zone, it's with the gods. I don't feel like I've got much control, unfortunately. Tyre temperature, I'm noticing, is not a thing either here, which is bizarre. Yeah, I've just spotted that, so I wonder if that's what it is. Maybe the tyres are just always optimal temperature in this class. That seems like a weird thing to have, because yeah, they're production bikes, but they'd still have tyre temperature. So yeah, I guess maybe they wouldn't have tyre temperature sensors, so maybe that's why it's taken away. But I guess under the hood, they're just going to be always optimal temperature, so that might be why the bike feels pretty good actually through the corners and out the corners and that kind of stuff. And obviously we are a lot less power than the GP bikes, so it's not going to spin anyway as much, as we really are just kind of closing up the Vignales in all the wrong places. I'm just taking way too much corner entry speed effectively, and it's costing me every single time. But we're on lap 3 now, so I do want to try and make some forward progress if possible. So I'm going to I almost got overtaken again by Peroni. I just seem to be kind of stuck between the two of them. Obviously, in terms of the electronic aids, you don't have the well, it's not an aid, I guess, but you don't have the power map. You have got the regular aids, although you haven't got ABS, which is interesting, because I'm pretty sure this same bike on Ride 6 has ABS, so the bike in real life, I'm guessing, does have it. Now, I'm not complaining, because I always turn it off anyway, because you don't want ABS in a racing game. On the street, yeah, sure, it's probably handy to have. I understand that, having the ABS stop unlocking the front and stuff, but obviously in a racing game, you don't want that, so I'm not too fussed that it's not there, but it does seem a bit strange, considering that the same bike has ABS in that game. I guess because this game just doesn't have it in at all, I would assume it's for the reason for that, because obviously none of the actual MotoGP bikes have ABS, so they wouldn't have probably coded it in the game. Right, we've actually finally done turn 1 kind of correctly, and we've got a good run on Maverick here, so just try and brake a little bit later than him. Just slam on everything we've got, some on the anchors. We have got stopped pretty well there, and we've closed up a good chunk to Anea, so maybe we're on one final charge through the field. It's Alvaro Carp actually leading the race, but I just realised I kind of assumed it would be a GP rider, but nope, it does seem to be Alvaro from the Moto3 class. Can we pass Bastianini into turn 4? Up the inside. Oh, running out of space. Down the gears. There we go, we've got him. I always feel like the low RPM thing actually isn't as exaggerated on these production bikes, so maybe that's also another reason why they feel quite good. Okay, so we're up onto the podium. Not that there is a podium, I'm guessing, for production races, but let's see what we can do. Obviously, I'm still a second behind Brad Binder, so I don't think I'm going to be catching him up. Okay, so we've got a good run to the last corner. See if we can do turn 1 good again as well, like I did on the last lap. And we could be on them here. And it looks like I might have done. Wow! That is... We kind of messed up the exit a little bit, but we're on them. We're with them now. So I am kind of figuring out the puzzle to these bikes. Inside we go of Brad into the chicane. Can we try and get Alvaro into the second part? We're going for it. Oh, Alvaro's turned in on us. Well, I say turned in on us. It was a bit optimistic, wasn't it, to be fair? But we've taken the lead. On the last lap of this production bike race. Brad Binder now comes up the inside of us. Is Carpe going to come back through? He's going to have a look. Not quite able to do it, though. I do feel a little bit bad, because I have just kind of bump and run him out the way. And all I can see there is his dash. I was just looking at his dashboard, it's completely blank. It was just really off-putting there. We've closed up way too much on Binder. I have to release the brakes. Oh, don't go to the gravel. Yeah, I'm in the gravel. It's game over. Well, we give it his best effort. We should just keep Bastianini behind to the end of the lap now, but I couldn't have contact with another one of them. We have closed right up to Carpe again here. Can we actually get him on the run to the line? Here we go. Side by side. Nah, I'm not going to do it, but it's probably for the best because we did kind of cost Alvaro the win there. Well, there you go then. That's my first goal on the race-off mode, and I must say, that was quite fun. I actually quite enjoyed that, which is good. I actually feel like the physics on those are pretty nice, pretty pliable. So I actually do feel like I want to do one more, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play as the Aprilia, because I don't think I've ever ridden this bike in like any game. At least this incarnation of it anyway. Of course, obviously back in the day there was the World Superbike Aprilias and things like that, but in this particular spec, obviously they've not been in that class for a long time, so yeah, it's good to try out a different one. In terms of track, what have we got here? So we've got Misano, Mugello, Catalunya. Might go with Catalunya, but I think this time I'll just go for 3 laps rather than going for 5. And yeah, I did actually set my position to 12th. So in the last race, I thought I'd set my position to 12th, and it's like 10th, which I thought was weird because there's only 10 riders, I guess. But again, I guess I'm 12th, but we'll see if I'm actually 10th when I get down to the grid. So obviously part of the reason for wanting to do a second race is just to kind of see how the physics compare between the bikes. And I also see some interesting riders on the grid there. I think that's the RW racing guys, the American racing guys, and Snipers. So I'm not sure how they're Aprilia affiliated, but I guess they had to kind of pick somebody. There wasn't enough Aprilia riders in the paddock. Lights on, away we go. We've had a good launch here. I'll tell you what, this bike does feel a bit quicker than the KTM. It's something to be expected because this is more of a super bike, whereas the KTM is a little bit off that in terms of power. We're already up into 3rd place, well, 2nd place now, so it's a factory Aprilia 1-2, which is something we have been seeing quite a bit in real life this year. The front end was going a little bit there through turn 3. But we'll see if this has got more power, which it does feel like it probably does. We'll see if it's a bit more like the MotoGP bikes in terms of the issues I was facing yesterday. Although we've just gone clean around the outside of Bezecchi, so just goes to show you that the AI performances are a little bit iffy track to track, because obviously at the Red Bull Ring I kind of struggled to keep up with them, but here I've taken the lead after a sector, and I'm guessing I'm going to probably disappear. Yeah, so I'm approaching the corners much quicker. I can feel the same front end vagueness a little bit more now, I guess. Oh, it's going mid-corner as well. Although I guess the same kind of thing I was saying with the KTM is that there's no tyre temp, so I'm guessing that we're always on ideal tyre temperature, which I think could have been causing a good chunk of the issues in the MotoGP class. We ran massively wide through turn 10, so didn't even really get to test if the turning worked on these bikes. It didn't feel like it, that's for sure, on the exit of that corner. Yeah, this bike is definitely a bit more the front end. I can feel it kind of going mid-corner a lot, and then I can look at the handlebars. I can see the front is folding mid-turn, which yeah, isn't brilliant, but the vagueness that I speak of is more on the brakes. When you're actually trail braking in, you don't get like really any feedback on the front, so you don't know if you're about to crash or not, which was also a bit of a problem in 25, but it does seem exaggerated, especially now that you have to trust the front so much to actually do lap times. Yeah, so I mean, look at that. It really does not turn through this corner. I just don't understand how this is still a problem. It's been a problem since like 23, maybe? It's been a while. It's been a few years now where the bike has not had that turning, and probably even before, but it just probably wasn't as bad as noticeable. Whereas I feel like Ride 6 did away with it a little bit. It'd be good if Ride 6 actually had Catalunya. Obviously, it has Portimao to test that corner, but Obviously, the Catalunya corner is longer, so it's kind of easier to see the problem, I guess. And here we go, that last corner. I've got a huge lead here. I mean, look at it. You can't even see him coming through the last corner yet. There you go. There's Bez. Yeah, 7 seconds. I was 3 seconds a lap faster than them. That is pretty incredible. But to be honest, that highlights another problem, really, because that's the same AI setting that I was just on at Austria. And yeah, but by the end, I was quicker than them. Maybe a second, probably slightly shy of that in reality. But here, I was like, well, I was 3 seconds a lap faster than them on the fastest times. It kind of highlights another problem I have with these games, is that the AI from track to track is so inconsistent. I mean, I would say that Austria is a lot more of a heavy braking circuit, so I'm probably nerfed more there, with still struggling with the brakes, whereas here, I mean, there's a few big stops to be fair, but it's probably a bit more about actually carrying the speed through the corner, which I'm kind of trying to learn to do a little bit with, since it's hard to pull up, you kind of are carrying just more speed into the corner in general, so you kind of just learning how to balance the bike a bit more. But yeah, honestly, actually, I'm quite surprised. I really did enjoy the production stuff. I kind of thought I would from the trailer, but then things I'd heard were that they weren't brilliant. But no, actually, I quite enjoyed that. I'd gladly do a couple more of them. But hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you are new to my channel, please do like the video and subscribe, because it is a win-win for both of us as you get some more MotoGP 26 game content in your subscription feed. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I shall see you in the next one.